Hello, everybody, and welcome to Influential Women. Here we empower, connect, and inspire women who are leading, creating, and redefining what is possible. I'm your host, Jody O'Brien, and today we are honored to welcome Amy Van Dyken, six-time Olympic gold medalist, Emmy Award-winning NBC Olympic analyst, and one of the most accomplished swimmers in American history. Amy made history at the 1996 Olympic Games by becoming the first American woman to win 4 gold medals in a single Olympics. But perhaps her greatest achievement came years later after a life-changing ATV accident in 2014 left her paralyzed from the waist down. Rather than allowing tragedy to define her, Amy built her life with remarkable resilience, becoming an advocate, speaker, and powerful voice for perseverance, mental toughness, and finding purpose through adversity. Today, we're talking about resilience, identity, compassion, and how some of life's greatest challenges can become the catalyst for our greatest growth. Amy, welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Jody, it's so good to see you and to be with you in person. It's so awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching for all of these months. We love having you as not only a listener, but our guest today. You know, many people know you as an Olympic champion, but before the accident, how would you have described your identity beyond athletics?
Oh my goodness. I would say that, I am a former football wife. My husband played in the NFL for 13 years with the Denver Broncos and then the Seattle Seahawks. I am a dog mom to a beautiful rescue dog. I would say that I'm a good, loyal friend. I'm a total goofball, but I also have the side of me that you don't want to mess with. So that's kind of my identity outside of athletics.
I love that. Well, after your spinal cord injury, what was the biggest mental or emotional hurdle you had to overcome in learning to accept that new reality?
One of the things that was really hard for me is, I'm a 6 foot tall woman. I used to always wear 5 to 6 inch stiletto heels because I could. And I would walk into places and I would get looks. And now I go into places and I still get looks, but they're very different. Whereas before it was like, who is that girl? And now it's like, oh, poor, I feel bad for her kind of look. So that's been the biggest mental hurdle for me to get over. And probably right there with it are the secondary problems that happen with paralysis that nobody knows about and very few people talk about. So those have been definitely difficult for sure.
You know, you have said that this accident has made you a better, more compassionate person. Can you share what changed within you? Because it seems like, well, it's hard to imagine what it would be like to go through that. I mean, how in the world have you pulled through with such a positive attitude?
Well, I've got a great support system. I've got my friends, I've got my family, my husband. So, they made sure that I was set in life before I left the hospital. So that really helped my mental, power, if you will, not diminish. And I've never really looked at it like, why did this ever happen to me? Oh, poor me. I just looked at it like, this is a new challenge and we're going to accept it. But how I became more compassionate, there's this one story, it sticks in my mind, it burns in my brain just because of how I handled it. I was an able-bodied person and I was going into Ulta, and I remember there was a guy walking towards me and I held the door open for him. He didn't look at me, he didn't give me a head bob, didn't say thank you, didn't give me the middle finger, like no acknowledgement. So of course, in true Amy fashion, I said, "You're welcome, Your Royal Highness. The next time I'll roll out the red carpet for you." So then fast forward to my accident and, I had to be flight for life into a trauma hospital in Scottsdale. My husband was there. We had 2 waiting rooms filled with my friends and family. And from what I've heard, he was just sitting in a corner in the fetal position, kind of rocking. And in that moment, had someone opened a door for him, he wouldn't have had the capacity to say thank you or give a head bob or any sort of acknowledgement. So I look back at what I did before, and now I think, what was going on in that guy's life that made it so that he couldn't acknowledge me holding the door open for him? So I kind of look at things in a different perspective now, and I realize that we are all fighting battles. It just so happens you can see some of mine, but other people you can't. And so I've kind of become a little nicer, a little more compassionate towards people, which I know it sounds weird after a spinal cord injury and, dying a few times in the accident. Like, how can you have more compassion? But I really, truly do.
We can't see you today from the waist down. So, can you explain a little bit about what you're dealing with today?
Yeah, so I am paralyzed from above my belly button all the way down. I live my life in a wheelchair. Just to clarify, I'm not wheelchair bound. This wheelchair helps me get around in life, and it is the most amazing thing. I deal with on a daily basis from my belly button to my tippy toes really bad chronic pain. It feels like when your hand falls asleep really bad, and like if you move it, it's just like the most painful thing. That's on a daily basis. When I'm having a flare of pain, it feels like someone's ripping my skin off. So that's kind of what I deal with on a daily basis, just chronic pain. Of course, I take the meds and I've got a spinal cord stimulator to kind of help alleviate that pain. But I am in constant, pretty severe pain 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. And it's been that way for 12 years now.
What is that moment, that specific moment when you realized that your story wasn't just about surviving, but that you could actually help other people?
I think I learned that pretty quickly when I was in ICU. I got onto Instagram pretty much right away. And you have to know that I don't remember a lot of this. So this is all what like my friends and family are telling me. And I remember one nurse, because they were getting so many calls to the hospital, was like, no, you can't use your phone anymore. And my husband said, leave the phone with her. It's the only time she's happy. And I realized in that moment that through my posts, other people could see what I was dealing with. They could look at their own lives and say, you know what? Hey, I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z. And if Amy can do it in ICU, she's never going to be able to walk again. You know, everything's going to change for her. She can't roll over in bed by herself anymore. I can deal with whatever I'm dealing with. So the responses that I was getting from people really hit me hard, because that's when I realized that we all have something and we need someone to look at to give us that, I guess, oomph or that extra push to know that we can get through anything. So that's when I started realizing that maybe I should be a little more careful with my Instagram and maybe just try to use my platform to help other people, to teach people about disabilities and, make it so that they're not afraid of a wheelchair. I mean, yes, I can run your toe over, but other than that, like nothing dramatic's going to happen.
Well, as an elite athlete, you spent years training your body. And after your injury, how did you, really have to retrain your mindset instead?
Jody, it's so funny. I always said that I was so thankful that I was an Olympian and that I was so thankful that I had to push through so much pain in practice and in swim meets, because it taught my mind that my body's going to want to quit and I need to just shut it out. So whenever I was in physical therapy and things would be awful and they would be hard, I would see my other people that are in chairs like tapping out and saying that they couldn't do it. And I was like, of course you can keep going. Like, let's keep going. We can do this. So if I didn't have that athletic background, I don't know that I would be where I am today. I'm able to get into a really high lifted truck because my husband's a manly man and he likes those big trucks. So I can get myself in there. I take Ubers. I fly by myself. I flew to Cannes, France by myself. I think that because of that athletic background, it really does show me that my body's going to quit before my mind does. And so just to keep on pushing.
You've spoke about developing the will and, the endurance. Has your definition of winning changed since your accident?
Absolutely, it has, for sure. I consider winning, being able to get out in the world every single day. Winning is being able, and I showed it on my Instagram, where, run an errand with me, taking my wheelchair apart, putting it in my car, driving, and then getting to the place, putting my wheelchair back together, getting into it. So for me, that's a huge win. And I still have a lot of freedom. And I look at some of my other friends who are in similar positions as me. And, I see that they are living life as amazing as possible and doing everything that they can to just live a quote unquote normal life, which I don't even know what that means. But for me, the winning is just more simple than it used to be. It used to be winning was standing on top of that podium, having the American flag raised, the national anthem going, everyone standing up. That to me was winning. And now it literally is being able to go to the grocery store. So as life changes, I think we change our perspective on things a lot. And that's one of the things that I have absolutely changed my perspective about. Let's not get it wrong. Those gold medals and, all the trophies and all of that is still really cool. But I said from the beginning, like, if 6 pieces of metal change who I am, then I wasn't really who I thought I was to begin with. So, yeah, that was something that I did. It's not who I am. It's my job. It's just like other people, they're doctors. That's what they do. It's not who they are. And so I look at it the same way. So yes, that type of winning in the moment was the most important thing in the world. But, like I said, going to the grocery store, getting a gallon of milk and a dozen eggs, like that is a win for me now. And I'm so, so proud of it. And I'm proud of myself every day that I make new strides. Not every day is a great day as for any of us, but I just feel like it's just how I handle it is it's more of a winning mindset.
Well, that's a great question. I mean, how do you stay hopeful on those difficult days when your progress feels slow or your circumstances feel overwhelming?
Yeah. And we have those days a lot. If you think about being paralyzed from the belly button down and think about everything that is below your belly button, let's not get graphic, but we do have bad days. And I just take a look and I realize that it's just a moment in time to not get frustrated, to try to learn something from it. Like, what could I have done better in this situation? How could I have handled myself better? How could I have moved better throughout the world? And everything to me is a learning experience at this point. I mean, I feel like a little kid because I'm only 12 years into this injury, and I feel like a 12-year-old kid who's learning how to do things again. And that's just how I take it every single day. Every day that I can wake up and have, beat in my heart and breath in my lungs is a great day, man.
Man, it's so interesting, the course of your life. How has the relationship with your sport changed?
Uh, with my support, well, I definitely found out who my real friends were. So that has changed a lot. My husband has had to start doing things that he never had to do before. Like, hey, babe, can you get me that wine glass on the top shelf? I can't reach it. Why he always puts my wine glasses on the top shelf? I'm not quite sure. We might need to discover that a little bit
Especially
more.
during your reality TV watching. I mean, you need those glasses close by.
Girl, I'm telling you, Love Island this season has got me just gagged. I need a bottle at least to get through it. And then we got Big Brother coming up. The Housewives of Orange County is starting again. I need those wine glasses low.
Yes. Have you seen The Real Housewives of Rhode Island?
Girl,
Good.
that is so good.
Dude,
I'm so sad.
Glasses down.
I mean, those ladies brought it this season. I'm so sad it was only like 13 episodes because they were so good.
Same. We're going to be like lifelong friends, you and I, talking about this. No one else
I
is
love
talking
this.
about it. Well, I wanted to ask you about your relationship with your sport. So not necessarily your supports, which is so good to hear, but what is your relationship with your sport? How has that changed?
With my it's changed a lot because I used to swim every day. Even when I retired, I would at least get in the pool. My happy place used to be going down to the bottom of the pool, looking up, kind of seeing the activity going on above me, but it was silent and it was my happy place. Well, now that I'm paralyzed, I can't get to the bottom of the pool anymore. And when I do swim, it's very different. I can see my legs dangling behind me. I don't have the power that I had before. So after my injury and accident for a long, long, long time, I was really kind of disheartened by my sport, not the sport itself, but how I was in the world with the sport. And then something changed. I got a call and they were like, hey, the Pac-12 network is looking for an analyst. Would you like to do it? And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. I had never done it before. And I went and I did it and I fell back in love with my sport. If I can't do it, at least I can watch other amazing athletes do it. And I've done it, now for, oh my goodness, 20 years, I think. I've been in media for 26 and it's been a blessing to me. And to be able to also, it's great. Like, I also do the ACC network. I do the Olympics, as you said earlier. So I get to watch a lot of these athletes from when they're a freshman in college all the way up to where they're winning gold medals or making an Olympic team. And to me, that is so special. It doesn't bring up anything like, oh my gosh, I remember when, or I wish I could. It brings up I am so proud of my sport. I'm so proud of these athletes because they are doing such an amazing job. They've brought swimming so far. And I'm just really proud to be a part of it in any way that I can and get to know these athletes on sort of a personal level and be able to have fun with them when I ask questions after a race.
I love that for sure. Well, many women listening may be navigating, unexpected losses, setbacks, whether it's, with an illness or a career, a change there or loss or disappointment. So, what advice would you offer someone who feels like life has completely changed overnight?
Mm. Yeah, and that's really tough. I mean, be it losing a pet, losing a family member, finding a diagnosis for yourself. The only thing that I can say is I have to go back to faith and just say you're never handed more than you can handle. And to remember that, and just remember that you can go through it with grace and dignity, or you can go through it feeling sorry for yourself. And it's how you think about that moment. And it really does change your mindset if you think about it in a positive way, and that's how I do it. And I have friends that have been going through things and, you just say like, this too shall pass because it will. We all know that, maybe we were in high school and we were bullied like I was, like this too shall pass. And what you go through and what you're learning about yourself in those moments is so powerful. So when you're feeling down, you're feeling sad, think about the moment that was a really good moment. Maybe it was 3 seconds ago. Maybe it's a moment that you're going to have that you're going to have going to get a coffee with a friend and just really use that and have that positive attitude a little bit. And I know we all get down, we all do, but if we can learn mentally how to pull ourselves up, it changes everything.
How has vulnerability changed your relationships with your family, your friends, the people who look up to you?
Yeah, I'm a lot more vulnerable now than I ever was when I was swimming. When I was swimming, I was a very closed off person. I didn't want to get close to a lot of people because these are the people I'm competing against as well. Yeah, they're my teammates, but I'm also trying to beat the living hell out of them to win a gold medal. So I was very closed off, not vulnerable at all. I would rarely ask for help, even to zip up a swimsuit. It like killed me to ask somebody to help me do that. And now it's like, I have to be vulnerable. I have to be the person in the grocery store that's like, can you hand me the horseradish on the top shelf? Whereas before I was the one that was reaching for it. So it has changed a lot, but I think that it's really helped me in my relationships with people because I realized that people are there to help you. They're willing to help you. They want to help you. And in turn, there's going to be a day when you help them. So my vulnerability has changed so much and I am so grateful for it. I mean, I wish that it didn't have to come with, being paralyzed. However, that's my lot in life and that's what I'm here to do. And I think I'm just here to teach people, what about disabilities and how you can treat people with them and how you can make a great life for someone with a disability. Because Jody, what a lot of people don't understand is, they always go, oh, you have the ADA law. Well, that really, truly has not been changed a lot since 1991. And it's not something that we can always turn to. You just have to realize that we are living in a world that is not made for us, but we're supposed to be happy about it. So again, that has helped my vulnerability a lot because there are things that I can't do. I can't get up a bump in the curb when there's no cutout. So I just have my strongest girlfriend. I'm like, just grab the back of my wheelchair. Let's go. And so, I've learned how to ask for help and be more vulnerable. And I think I think it's strengthened my marriage and I think it's strengthened my friendships.
There's so many things that can be done at a legislative level to change what we're doing with people with disabilities or what we're doing for people with disabilities. I know a big platform for me is just adults with autism, right? I have a son who has autism. He's 23, about to be 24 tomorrow. And and not being able to really find employment has been difficult. And the fact that you receive, you can receive a disability payment, but maybe it's discouraged that he try to work, but 50% on every dollar is taken. So I have a very big platform actually and a desire to help in that area. And so I feel you when it comes to the ADA law. Is there anything that you would change today that you could speak to about that?
I definitely would change the flying, the airplanes. I've sat there for an hour and a half waiting to be taken off an airplane. And the flight attendants can't do it because they're off the clock. So if they get hurt, they don't get workman's comp. And we have to wait for these people who that's their job, but yet they know very little about disabilities. And I've been dumped on the floor more times than I can even tell you. So I would start with air travel for sure.
I just came off of a 13-hour flight, so I can't imagine even being in that chair for that long and then waiting an hour and a half. So I absolutely can feel you there. So, you've experienced really the highest level in sports and an incredible adversity after that. So, which experience do you feel like ultimately taught you more about yourself?
Oh, I think my accident, and how I'm dealing with life right now taught me way more about myself than anything because, I mean, I had great success in the pool. I swam 8 Olympic races and I won 6 gold medals. So that's a pretty good percentage of winning. I had gone from 1994 to 1997 without losing the 50-meter freestyle. So I had a lot of success in the pool. When I got out of the pool and got in this chair, I have not had a lot of success, right? Like, especially immediately. But I've learned that when I have those little winning moments, like it is the greatest thing ever. When I can like bump down a curb and not fall, like it's so good. It's everyone gets excited because they don't have to pick my big booty up and put it back in my wheelchair. But, it really is fun to see like how everyone gets excited for those little wins that are around you. And, I think when I was in sports, it was expected of me. I mean, I feel like that was a certain amount of pressure, but now nothing's expected of me. And so everything that I do is a win. And you just have to take it as that, like when your feet are swollen and you actually get your shoe on, let's go. I mean, it's awesome, man. Like everything is just so great and so, wonderful when you do have those little wins. So I definitely learned a lot more recently.
Such an inspiring conversation with you. And I'm really curious how gratitude has played a part in your healing journey. And how do you practice it even during those difficult seasons?
Oh, I've been grateful. So, long story longer, I died a few times in my accident. So, I am not supposed to be here. So, I am grateful for every moment that I am on this planet. I am so grateful to all of the nurses that were in trauma, the doctor that saved my life when a lot of doctors I was told wouldn't have done the surgery. So I'm grateful for all of that. I'm grateful if someone smiles at me. I'm grateful if someone doesn't take a knee to talk to me. So, my gratitude has really changed a lot. And I think that I am more appreciative and grateful to the people around me. When I run into a nurse or a doctor that helped save my life, a lot of times, they move from trauma to other wards and you get to see them. And I just give them all big hugs because they have done amazing work, keeping me alive. What a lot of people don't know is after you have a spinal surgery, there's a 72-hour period where you could go into spinal shock and they can't do anything. Like you're just gone. So, to keep someone alive and to keep them smiling and happy and on their phone and on the Instagrammies and the TikToks and the snappy chats, I'm just grateful for even just those small little things. So it has changed a lot about how grateful I was. Before I was just grateful if I had hot salted fries from McDonald's. And now I'm just grateful when I put my pants on by myself.
It's amazing. A lot of people don't know this about me. I listen to near death experience podcasts because I'm so fascinated. And so I have to ask you, and this isn't in my list of questions, this is a Jody question, but do you have an experience out of those 4 times that you are willing to talk about?
Yeah. And it's so interesting because what I said immediately after the accident stuck with everybody. And then what I feel like I saw that I didn't articulate was so powerful. So I remember knowing that something went horribly wrong. And I remember, you know, knowing that I should be scared, but I wasn't. I felt like I was like confined in like a little bubble almost. It was very bright. I saw a lot of green and I saw a rainbow. which freaks me out because I recently just finished reading the Bible from cover to cover. And in Revelation chapter 4, verse 3, it talks about how at the throne, it's like an emerald with a rainbow.
Yeah,
Girl,
I bet. I I bet. That I mean, talk about coming home in that moment when you're reading that. Did you just stop in your tracks?
I did. My jaw was on the ground forever. I had to reread it like 5 or 6 times. And then I called my mom and I was like, Mom, listen to this. And she's like, that's exactly how you described it. And so, it was really powerful. I still get chills when I talk about it because you realize like you were not really supposed to come back, but for some reason you are here. And I think that that helps me every day though, Jody, right? Because I'm not supposed to be here. And every day I'm just stoked that I am here to drive my husband crazy or to go grab a glass of wine with the girls just because it wasn't supposed to happen. And when I realized how close I was to not ever having it happen again, it kind of gives new light to it.
I know that you wouldn't have chosen that this happened, but could you imagine or do you ever try to imagine what you would be like if it didn't?
I don't try to imagine that at all. No. I mean, when I dream, I'm walking, but I'm usually with my wheelchair, which is so weird.
Like next to you?
Yeah, like right next to me, or I'm carrying it, or like, yeah, something. It's just so wild. But I never think about like what would have happened, what could have happened, where would I be? Because that didn't happen. Right. And so this is the life that I'm living now. And so I just have to look at that as my life. I always feel like you can't really look backwards because it doesn't behoove anybody. It doesn't behoove yourself or your mental health. So yeah, I just look at what's in front of me, where I'm going, what mountain bike trail I'm going to take tomorrow. That's what I look at. I just feel for my own mental health, I can't look and say,
No. I
all
can
that.
I can imagine, but what's really interesting about it is you wouldn't be such a beautifully grateful person. I mean, I just think about how many of us, wake up in the morning and we think, "Man, do we have to go to work? Man, do we have to get out of bed?" And so when we meet someone like you, I mean, it is incredibly impactful. So what do you hope that people take away from your story? Not just your as an Olympic champion, of course, but the woman
Right.
that you are today.
I hope that they can look at me and see that, no matter what circumstance is going on in my life, I always try to be positive. I always try to think about the best things in people and try to find the best things in myself. I want them to take away that, I love my disability community so much. And I want to help them just as much as they have helped me. So I really hope that they take away that, I'm still a funny, goofy person, but that I am kind and that I am compassionate. I hope that they can see that.
Resilience is another word that comes up for me when I listen to you talk. And so, what does it look like in everyday life? Is there a way that I can teach my kiddos how to be resilient? Or is it something that we're born with?
I do think that it's something that you're born with, but I also do think that you can learn it. I always, in my disability, have learned to think 3 steps ahead. So, example, I'm in downtown Denver right now for the summer, and I live on one side of the train tracks and everything else is on the other. But in order to cross those train tracks, I have to go up an elevator, across a bridge, and down an elevator. For years, one of these elevators has been broken, and I fought to get it turned back on. They wouldn't do it. And then they would turn it off at midnight so that the homeless people couldn't cross over the tracks. And I'm like, A, that's against the ADA law. And B, that is so dumb. Like, I can't even, that rationale is so stupid. So I always thought 3 steps ahead. Okay, if that one's closed, then I'll zip over a mile to the other one. If that one's closed too, then I'm going to have to go, down a steep hill, up a steep hill where, nobody can really see. There's no lights and it's kind of dangerous, but how am I going to handle that? So I always think 3 steps ahead in everything that I do, just in case something goes wrong. You don't get upset and you don't like freak out and you just go, oh, well, plan B. And I think that's how I would tell people to do it.
Yeah, I remember my dad saying, you always have to have a plan B. What's your plan B? If you don't get to go to the news industry, I was like, I don't have a plan B. That is plan A,
Yeah.
and it's happening. Well, I know, right? Olympic gold medalist here. In the making, I was. Well,
Yes, you were.
my question for you too is like, who is that one person that inspired you throughout your story? You know, when you were living in those really difficult moments, who is that one person?
I would have to say my husband. My husband is the one person that I can turn to. The thing is, we were friends before we ever started dating. And so I truly am with my best friend, and he is there for me no matter what. If I'm crying, he knows he doesn't, that I don't want him to fix it, because a lot of times men think when we're venting that we want them to fix it. He knows now that's not it. I just need someone to listen to. So he's been there forever. And my college coach, John Matos at Colorado State University, he's another guy that I turn to all the time. He is just a bright light in the world. And without him, my life would be so different. So those are honestly, in that order, who I look to when I need a little bit of venting time or whatever it is.
How do you feel like we can be more compassionate with the community of disabled people in the US?
I would let you guys know there's a lot of other things that go on with us. I'm going to be really dark here. I am not going to pass away because of my spinal cord injury. I'm going to pass away because of a secondary thing. For me, I have MRSA and Intrabacter in my bladder. So that's probably what's going to end up for me being the problem. But for everyone else, it's something different. But when you see someone out who is in a wheelchair, you know, if your kids are staring at them, let them ask questions. The majority of us are fine with that, you know, and that's why I have lights on my wheels so I can turn them on when the kids are staring and be like, no, mom, they're staring at my lights. I would let them know too that wherever our injury was, we have no muscles. So I used to have a great set of abs. I have 2 abs right now, and that's it. I don't have back muscles. So when I'm going to open a door, it is really hard to like lean over to grab it and then to try to pull it back with very little back muscle. So to let them know that, you know what, it's a victory that we are out and about kicking some booty. You know, you don't have to say you're so inspiring, because don't do that. But, you know, just like give a high five, give a smile. Like, we're normal people. We're just like, you know, out there trying to make a difference in the world, or we're just trying to get some Haagen-Dazs. You know, it is what it is.
I can imagine you going, you know, to open your own door and nobody helping you and you saying, let me get that for you. I can imagine
I've
you
done
saying
that,
that
Jody.
today.
Stop. I've done that.
I know you too well. I know you too well already. Well, let me ask you, as you look ahead, what are you most excited about accomplishing next? And what message do you hope continues to define your legacy?
Oh my gosh. The message that I hope defines my legacy is to look at everything that is in your way and look at it and say, who are you to tell me what I can and can't do? I'm the one that's going to tell me what I can and can't do. So everything that's in your way, you know, because jealousy is a nasty lady. So look out for that. And if people are telling you no, maybe it's jealousy. Who knows? So who are you to tell me what I can and can't do? And the thing that I'm looking forward to next is me and my best friend, who is a JD PhD. So she's a lawyer and a doctor. We're getting ready to start our own podcast. So Jody, you're going to have to join us on that when we start it. And I'm also looking forward to the 2028 Olympics. Hopefully I will be calling it with NBC, but if I'm not, I'll be there, because the last time the Olympics, the Summer Olympics, were on US soil, I was the most decorated athlete of those games. And I was the first American woman to win 4 golds in one Olympics at those games. And that record has only been tied. It's never been broken. And at those games, I became the only, to this day, only American woman to win the 50-meter freestyle. So my goal in that is to watch someone else from America win the 50 free and watch someone else from America, another woman, win 5 Olympic gold medals and be the very first person to give them a hug. That is what I'm looking forward to. I know it's simple, but there it is.
That gives me chills, Amy, like
Oh,
literal chills. I love that so much for you. I
thank
love
you.
those goals. Tell us about your podcast. Do you have a name for it yet?
Yes, it is called The Power of One.
Mm.
And what we believe is that everybody has that one person. Now, it can change through your life, but that one person, and you asked me the question, who truly defines you and what you're doing in that moment, how they've helped you. And then we like to get into nitty gritty stories. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We are a crack up. There may be wine involved from time to time. So get ready.
Yeah, get your husband ready to grab those glasses down.
Exactly. Because my friend's only 5'5". She can't reach him either.
Well, that's right. She could stand on your lap, but oh,
That's
Amy,
right.
Amy, thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, your story reminds us that resilience isn't just about avoiding hardship. It's about discovering really who we become because of it. Your willingness to share both your victories and your struggles is such an incredible gift to me. And I know it's incredible for our audience. We're grateful for the inspiration, of course. We're grateful for the hope, the perspective that you've shared with us today. I mean, just your story today will change not just the rest of my day, but my life. So thank you. If you
Jody,
have
thank you.
enjoyed, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say thank you so much. That was so touching. Thank you so much. You just totally made my day. Thank you. I
Oh,
appreciate you.
it's true. It's true, Amy. Well, if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, or share it with a woman who may need a reminder that even life's greatest challenges, they can be the beginning of a new purpose. Amen to that. So until next time, I'm Jody O'Brien, and this was Influential Women. Keep showing up, keep growing, and keep turning those challenges that you're facing into opportunities to inspire others.